Hello everyone and welcome to the last video in this series for implementing a simple chatbot using PyTorch. In this video, we are basically going to take an input from the user and then run the model and give the output. So let's start with the code. So if you remember, this was our main file where we had written all the code. Now what we are going to do is, as you can see, we had the model at the end. We had the train function and we finally got the model. So now after that, what we need to do is we need to start chatting. So first let me get some space over here. I'm going on the top and then finally I'm going to say while true. So I'm going to have an infinite loop. So I'm going to take an input from the user. I'm going to say input and I'm going to say over here u, which is basically asking for a input from the user. Okay, now obviously if you remember, or let me show you the slides. If you remember, over here you can see we had to give an input. So obviously this input was in the vector format. This was not in the string format or in the text format, because neural network doesn't understand text, it understands numbers. So we had to create a vector. Now in order to create a vector from a text, we created a file, the create samples, and then there we created a vector. So I'm going to show you the file. So as you can see over here, we had a create vector, this function. So here a sentence was given and finally we used to get a vector out of it. Okay, so now we have to use this tools file. Okay, or rather create sample file, not tools file. So what I'm going to do here, we already have a create samples file. Now from there I am also going to import create vector. Okay, now we will go here and then finally we are going to say vec is equals to create vector and we have to pass the input. After that we also have to pass the words list. Okay, so now we have the vector. Now we have to change this vector to a torch tensor. So I'm going to say input vector is equals to torch dot as tensor, and then what we are going to do, we are going to pass the vec, and then finally we are also going to pass the d type. So I have to say d type and we have to pass the d type as float 32. Lastly we also need to increase the dimension over here, so I'm going to say none, and this basically adds one dimension in the start. The reason we are doing it because we only have one vector. If we had multiple vectors, this would have been already two-dimensional and we wouldn't have needed this. Okay, so now we have that and we have to fill, or we have to provide the input vector to the model. So we are going to say input vector and then we are going to get the output. Okay, so now we already have the output over here, and after that what we need to do, so let's go to the slides one more time. So as you can see over here, once we had the output, so output was certain numbers. Okay, 6 numbers. Why? We had 6 intents and we took the maximum of this. So we see 0.37 is the maximum. What is the argument of what is the position? It is 0 1 2, second position. What is there in the second position? It is menu. From the intents mapping we knew. Okay, so now we need to find where the maximum is. So the way we do it is we go over here and we say predicted number, or whatever, you can use any variable over here. You can say output dot argmax, and we are going to take the item because we do not need the tensor. Finally what we need to have a response. So I'm going to say resps, and I'm going to say, for example, if I show you the intent file, every intent had certain responses. Okay, so there were 3 responses for each and every intent. So for example, if the intent was takeaway, there were 3 responses over here. The first one was sure we allow packed food for takeaways. Yes, you can get the food packed for takeaway. We pack the food for you for takeaways, everything. Okay, so these are the 3 responses and every intent has a response. So here we have the predicted intent and now we need to get the intent and the responses. So from where we can get the responses? We can get the responses from here. So I'm going to say intents response, and then finally have the prednum over here. So now we have the responses over here. Now I have to print the output, the bot output. So I'm going to say bot. Now what I need from here is I need to get resps and then finally take a random out of the 3. So we had 3 choices, we have 3 choices and we have to print any one. So I'm going to say import random, and now I need to go here and we just take a random integer, so random.rand int, and then we have to pass, you could take anything from 0, 1 and 2, so both of them are included over here. Okay, so let me run F5 and see whether it runs. So as you can see, our model has trained, and now it is giving you a U kind of a whatever you have to give over here. The user needs to give a input. So let's go to the intents file. Let's say we are going to have booking intent. Okay, so let's say it says, can I book a table? So let's say the user gives, can I get a table booked? Okay, almost the same way. So it has to be similar. It shouldn't match exactly, but the input has to be similar. So I say, can I get can I, even though it will get in the smaller or in the lower case, a table booked, and I'm going to hit enter. So okay, it says we can definitely looking forward to your visit. So sometimes it definitely so as you can see, sometimes it definitely gives you correct results, sometimes it definitely gives you a wrong result as well, but there are more right results than wrong results. That's the entire point. Okay, so in this case it was a right result. Okay, because what it does, it matches the query. So let's say, let's take another let's take schedule. Okay, so when is the restaurant, when are your working hours, when are you open? Okay, so let's say customer gives, when are you open, for when is the restaurant open, let's say when is the restaurant open, we are open between 2 to 10 p.m. So you can see they are definitely correct results. The thing I'm saying is, once you have more data, and right now you can see it's almost being able to guess correctly. If you have more data, it will become more better and it will give you better results. Okay, so I hope you understood the video, and this is the end of the series. Thank you very much, and bye.